Hi, Army! Let's discuss the ranking of BTS members who are most likely to stay single forever based on their habits. This is purely a casual analysis of their public lives, not absolute facts. The details may vary depending on the source and time. Who is the most absorbed in their career, and who wants to start a family soon? Let's just rank them from the 7th position to the 1st. Let's tune in.
Number 7. V. Curious about who among these 7 handsome men looks the most ready to immediately pass out wedding invitations and build a warm little family in the future? Kim Tae-hung occupies the 7th position in our list this time because based on the track record of interviews, daily interactions, and his behavior over the years since debuting with the group in 2013, he is the member who most frequently and most openly discusses his dream to build a happy family and have children in the future. In contrast to the general view of pop idols who were comfortable staying single forever or intentionally postponing marriage for the sake of boundless career ambitions, Tae-hung has repeatedly mentioned in various official and casual occasions that his main role model in life is his own father. He consistently states that he has a very strong personal ambition to become a loving, supportive, ever-present father figure who can be the best friend to his future children, exactly like the father figure who raised him. This deep desire is very clearly, sincerely, and naturally seen from the way he interacts with small children on various public occasions and group filming schedules. Whether during fan meeting events where he always gives extra attention to toddler fans with an adoring gaze, internal variety show filmings where he does not hesitate to act silly just to entertain the kids, or when he is a guest star on national television shows that involve direct interaction with families, he always shows a very joyful, enthusiastic facial expression and possesses an extraordinary level of patience. Aside from his interactions with humans, Tae-hung's personal life is also very much filled with abundant affection for his pet, a beloved Pomeranian dog named Yeontan. Tae-hung not only keeps him, but often cares for him with his own hands, trains his obedience, and proudly shows Yeontan's development to the public through live online broadcasts or social media uploads, even making Yeontan an essential part of the visual concept of his solo album. His routine of caring for Yeontan from a vulnerable little puppy to a healthy adult dog shows his natural trait of being very caring, meticulous, and ready to take full responsibility in consistently caring for another living creature every day without complaining. In terms of his personal interests and hobbies outside of his super busy work schedule, Tae-hung has a very high appreciation for classic art values, a routine of listening to and collecting classic jazz vinyl records in his room, doing photography hobbies using antique analog film cameras under the pseudonym Vante, and routinely visiting various contemporary art galleries and classic museums in the various countries he visits while on world tours. All these artistic interests collectively point to a very calm personality, one that highly values a slow-paced process and upholds traditional values, including family values, the warmth of a home, and the commitment of loyalty. In terms of his social life outside the group, he is very active in maintaining a very close, positive, and supportive friendship group widely known by the public as the Wooga Squad. He often spares his precious free time just to vacation with them, celebrate important moments like birthdays, and support each other's project works with full pride. When he finally released his aesthetically stunning debut solo album titled Layover, Tae-hung intentionally highlighted warm visual nuances, relaxed musical tempos, an understated singing style, and lyrics that are melancholy but essentially very romantic, all of which accurately reflect his emotional depth as a normal human being. All elements of his public life, social interactions, and artworks highlight very brightly that he is an individual who deeply appreciates true emotional bonds, the warmth of a home, and long-term relationship commitments. So the scenario of choosing to stay single forever seems very far from the main dream of his life's roadmap. Furthermore, his ability to find happiness in small, everyday interactions proves that he is not the type of person who can live in emotional isolation for long. He always seeks meaningful connections, whether it's through the sweet messages he leaves for fans on community platforms or through his self-composed songs that always try to embrace the listener's feelings personally. As a fun fact for all of you, Taehyung once openly and enthusiastically shared his childhood story of going on a simple vacation trip with his family to an amusement park as one of his most precious memories that successfully shaped the foundation of his personality and also for his vision of the future.
Number 6. Jimin. If we talk about who absolutely cannot live without warm hugs, constant interaction, and long late-night chats, this sixth position can definitely be guessed very easily. Park Jimin occupies the sixth position in our list this time because of his natural trait of paying close attention to human relationship dynamics, his above-average emotional sensitivity, and his habit of always reflexively ensuring the physical and mental comfort of the people around him at all times. Throughout the long journey of his career, from the pre-debut era until reaching the peak of global popularity, Jimin is widely known by the other BTS members and also by millions of fans as a very good listener, a very empathetic individual, and someone who is always unconditionally willing to provide full support, both physical, such as hugs, and emotional support when other members are going through difficult times, physical exhaustion, or heavy mental pressure. This protective and caring characteristic makes Jimin look very clearly like someone who really needs, appreciates, and actively absorbs positive energy from the physical presence of his closest ones. So the idea of isolating himself, living alone in old age, or staying single forever might be very incompatible with his core personality, which tends to be extroverted in terms of mutually giving and receiving affection. If we look far back at his formal educational background in an arts high school specializing in contemporary dance, that has directly and indirectly shaped the way Jimin expresses himself artistically and also personally in his daily life. Contemporary dance is an art discipline that heavily relies on direct connection, physical touch, conveying feelings through body language, and strong emotional responses from the audience or dance partners on stage. Through his highly successful solo album titled Face, and especially through his captivating title track called Like Crazy, Jimin bravely and honestly explores deep themes about human psychological vulnerability, suffocating loneliness, social interaction in the nightlife, and the very intense emotional dynamics when someone tries to find an escape from the feeling of emptiness due to loss. This highly personal artwork shows how centered Jimin's conscious and subconscious mind is on the essence of human connection. In his daily life, he often suddenly holds hours-long live broadcasts late at night just to talk casually with fans, recounting the trivial details of his day, or simply assembling plastic block toys because he blatantly admits to feeling very bored or lonely when forced to be alone in a large hotel room or his quiet house. These spontaneous actions directly prove that he is the type of person who naturally gets his energy recharged, inner comfort, and emotional validation from the presence and two-way interaction with other people, even if the interaction only happens virtually through his device screen. Outside of his main group activities, Jimin is also widely known to be very loyal and faithful to his friends from various circles, often sparing his very rare and precious days off just to eat together at ordinary restaurants, hang out casually, or travel out of town to unwind with his trusted circle of friends. His very reasonable and healthy dependence on meaningful social interaction and support from a collective entity makes the position of being single for a very long time, let alone forever, a life scenario that would likely feel very torturous and completely out of line with his natural psychological need for affirmation, togetherness,
togetherness and a constant exchange of affection. A very interesting fun fact that proves this point: Jimin has for years always held the reputation as one of the members who most frequently spends his personal free time visiting the music video shooting locations or individual photo shoot sets of other members by surprise, purely just to give direct encouragement, wait for them to work for hours until late at night on the sidelines of the set, and attentively bring them snacks so they don't starve. This consistent action confirms without a shadow of a doubt that he absolutely does not like to stay silent and enjoy solitude at home when he actually has a golden opportunity to share moments of togetherness and show his sense of care concretely through direct actions to the people he deeply loves over a long period of time.
Number 5. Jungkook. Our beloved versatile youngest member firmly sits in the middle position because he is like two sides of the same coin that are equally interesting. On one side, he is very independent with all his technical equipment, but on the other, he can be very clingy and devoted to his closest ones. Jungkook occupies the 5th position because he managed to display a very extraordinary psychological balance and lifestyle between the absolute need to be alone productively in developing his skills and a very deeply rooted emotional loyalty to the closest social circle that has raised him. As the youngest member who grew up, learned, and developed under the spotlight of public cameras since middle school age, Jungkook has slowly formed a unique habit of spending hours or even days indoors behind closed doors to do various technical hobbies, physical activities, and creative projects very independently without asking for help from others. For those of you who might have a hobby of editing videos, looking for various visual style references on the internet, then cutting and assembling image transition effects along with sound using popular editor applications like Filmora or CapCut, and processing all those heavy creative results through a heavy-duty laptop screen like a Lenovo LOQ, you will surely be able to deeply understand the high-level dedication and sense of perfectionism that is always shown by a Jungkook when he produces, directs, and perfects his highly iconic personal documentary series called Golden Closet Film. When working on his personal audio-visual projects, he always looks very immersed and focused on very complicated technical matters, such as setting smooth visual scene transitions, color grading corrections so it looks very cinematic, precise audio beat synchronization, and choosing dramatic camera movement angles, all of which absolutely require him to lock himself up and work alone in total silence for hours so that the final result can reach his very high personal standard of perfection without outside noise interference. In addition to being very meticulous and independent in the world of video editing, Jungkook also really enjoys various daily routines that involve heavy physicality and domestic household chores independently without the help of an assistant. He routinely practices boxing sports intensively until sweating profusely with his trainer, lifts heavy weights at the fitness center to maintain his proportional body proportions, diligently washes his own piles of dirty laundry every week, cleans every corner of his house, to routinely experimenting cooking new food recipes of his own creation late at night while doing hours-long live broadcasts just to sing karaoke casually to entertain his fans in cyberspace. This collection of highly diverse and time-consuming solo activities convincingly shows that he is actually very comfortable, extraordinarily independent, and very capable of taking care of all aspects of his own life from A to Z without ever feeling the need or urgency to depend on the presence of a romantic partner figure in his house. However, at the same time, and equally important, we absolutely cannot ignore the historical fact that Jungkook has a long track record of living side by side very closely and affectionately with the other 6 members since he was a teenager, which has significantly shaped him to have a very large heart capacity to commit to a long-term relationship and show a level of limitless loyalty to the figures he loves and respects in his life, from the past until now. His decision in the past to join his agency, which was still small at the time, purely because of his deep admiration for RM's leadership charisma, is the most valid proof that all major decisions in his life direction are highly driven by the bond of emotional connection rather than just relying on calculative logic. The massive promotion of the launch of his solo album titled Golden, which successfully broke down the walls of the international market and mercilessly succeeded massively in building a supermassive global listener community from the United States to all corners of the world, as if creating a special Bangtan zone without geographical boundaries, also highlights his ability to collaborate harmoniously with many world-class musicians, recording producers, and dancers without awkwardness. Through the lyrics of his songs in this golden era, Jungkook blatantly shows his personal side, which is slowly but surely maturing, daring to take steps, and growing more adult in viewing the dynamics of romantic relationships and the art of romantic seduction. The perfect balance between his highly independent nature and his loving soul is what ultimately places him fairly in the 5th position without debate. An exciting piece of information that is very entertaining for you to remember: Jungkook once spontaneously did a live internet broadcast watched by millions of pairs of eyes for full hours just to show his process while folding his entire collection of underwear very neatly, methodically, and with full concentration one by one after he finished washing them. A rare and unexpected event that purely proves how independent, meticulous, funny, and dedicated he is in taking care of basic daily household chores without ever feeling the need or prestige to ask for trivial help from others.
Number 4. J-Hope. Entering our top 4 ranks today, get ready to greet an extraordinary perfectionist figure, whose love for the world of dance, music, and the stage seems so overflowing that it is enough to completely fill every empty space and crevice in his warm heart. Jung Ho-seok convincingly and without room for long debate occupies the 4th position as an individual who has a very high potential to remain single for a very long period of time in the future. And this strong inherent tendency is primarily driven directly and massively by his extraordinarily high work ethic, his very strict personal discipline without tolerance for laziness, and his almost absolute undeniable level of dedication towards the smoothness of his professional career in the commercial music industry. The smooth process of high-quality song production continuously, and the pursuit of absolute perfection in every stroke of dance art choreography he performs, both alone and with his crew. For everyone who works and breathes in this ruthless entertainment industry, and for the fans who observe him tirelessly day and night, the figure of Ho-seok is the most real, most alive, and most complete definition of the embodiment of a true hard worker and a top-class professional label, who consistently, consciously, and proactively always places the piles of his job responsibilities and all his professional obligations far above all types of secondary interests, casual hobby pleasures, or the sheer availability of his personal free time. This characteristic of extremely sweat-inducing job commitment practically often successfully dominates without leaving a trace of all his daily mind focus points every second, sucks and confiscates almost all drops of sweat of physical energy and mental cognitive capacity he has that day, and indirectly has become the main driving axis of the movement of steps from every design of his future target planning that he compiles and revises periodically in his endlessly super busy digital notebook of life. As a role model figure who officially holds the full mandate as the leader of the high-level official dance training agenda, or who is most often respectfully dubbed the mainstay choreography captain for his music group's operations, he bravely, with full guts and a broad chest, carries an extraordinarily massive weight of responsibility on both shoulders every second in the practice room to ensure and guarantee that every detail of body movement from the other 6 bodies of the members is accurately and geometrically synchronized with an
exhaustive level of perfection, ensuring not a single blink of a fast-paced song beat rhythm detail is wasted by anyone, and proactively supervising and maintaining the stability of the fighting mental stamina, as well as the physical limit endurance of all group members at their peak condition every time approaching the seconds before they march out to perform dancing and singing fierily, directly under the front headlights of hundreds of thousands, to sometimes reaching the scale of millions of pairs of human eyes of stadium-filled concert audiences. This God-level perfectionism benchmark that sometimes can make goosebumps rise, while also leaving one amazed in awe, and also the forensic-level intensity of attention towards these highly microscopic error details do not just stop, settle, or get tightly locked inside the confines of the practice studio box of smells of sweat of struggle, but this trait is actually massively carried deep, seeping into all the pores of the intricacies of the aspects of his daily life branches in the real world without exception or compromise. When we rewind time and try to re-observe the most tense moments where he intensively prepared materials, and finally at the climax point successfully confidently released his debut track record solo project, designed full of splashes of bright color nuances and complex melodies that pound the chest through the project titled Hope World, and then brilliantly dared to recklessly take a sharp leap in the direction of artistic exploration, whose scale is far darker, sharper in character, and highly conceptual, full of messages of resistance, in the release of his next groundbreaking masterpiece era through the mystery box of the Jack in the Box album. The broad public audience without demographic boundaries, nor the rows of expert curator music critics from various renowned publications in any part of the globe, could truly freely see firsthand with their own eyes, and participate in highly appreciating how extraordinarily neatly structured, highly methodical step-by-step, and truly planned with the most extremely mature calculations the strategic direction of thinking and acting of a figure named Jung Ho-sok from behind the glass screen of the hit printing industry, consistently and continuously. He is completely unwilling if he has to be measured or limited only to his role to simply hold a microphone to sing, spitting out rap lines, and showing off his dancing skills following the rhythm only on stage. Instead, he deliberately takes the hardest route to step in and work hard directly, entering to lead the boardroom, designing the entire architectural framework of his visual presentation concept from scratch paper scribbles, busy rearranging for hours the sequence of the tracklist positions one by one repeatedly, so that it can form a logical and reasonable narrative plot flow for the initial listener, to not hesitating to join in, squeezing his exhausted brain in precisely planning the schedule of the global release promotion distribution route, to ensure that his artwork results can penetrate the reach and impact the maximum earth-shattering penetration effect in the ears across the music markets of all corners of the listener audience universe. This documentation of his solo documentary film that has been officially massively released and broadcast on various choices of giant global broadcasting platforms actually deliberately provided an exclusive lens viewing treat behind the hard wall of the stage screen, and extraordinarily explicitly bluntly recorded, showcased a portrait of a bleeding struggle process that is so very extremely exhausting without a breathing pause, where he constantly, repeatedly, without feeling bored, torturing himself, reviewing over and over, perfecting every pinpoint layout of the technical specifications of the main stage lighting electricity from all degree angles of position, rechecking with laser-level accuracy the tilt position of the giant-sized projector screens, strictly correcting the layout of the pinpoint positions of the accompanying formation band instruments, and listening and monitoring the test of the cleanliness quality of the audio frequency range smoothness persistently, continuously, without knowing the word of mercy of fatigue from various spectator point of view positions that exist purely only for one big sacred goal, which is to guarantee the smoothness of the execution of his solo stage action appearance, which history later finally agreed to record it as something of a very highly historical value in the modern music industry, exactly when he, with his crown of pride, was officially inaugurated, positioned as the lineup of the main closing headliner, who is recorded as coming directly from South Korean roots to shake hard the stage of the most prestigious and legendary open music festival agenda in the mainland continent of the United States, which was held festively under the grand title of the Lollapalooza Festival.
The density of the sequence of the root of his busy agenda schedule, which is illogically, truly, extraordinarily stacked, very extremely, super suffocatingly packed, and practically physically tortures the rhythm of his physical bone muscle capacity limit endurance. If then, on the next morning, this routine still always has to be obliged to be added, combined, and strung back together again with his mandatory secret daily program agenda behind the dark screens, which absolutely unnegotiably always involves a forced session of physical movement, stretching, flexibility training, excessively crazily intense that is never absent even for a day, purely beaten in, so that his fragile body can continue to always successfully maintain the maximum flexibility limit level of all his limb muscle joints of his dance body, and also the fulfillment of his remaining hours must be consciously allocated for the obligation to enter the long isolation session schedule of warming up his vocal cords, as well as the production of vocal melody concoctions, spending the duration range of late hours until the late dawn, swallowed by time inside the tightness of the soundproof closed studio booth isolation room that feels densely stinging, practically rationally in mathematical logic. Eventually that scenario sequence will purely automatically only completely erode and merely be able to spare and leave a mental airspace reserve slot capacity that is very empty and extraordinarily narrowing very slightly, as well as exhaust almost entirely of his entire reserve supply portion of his physical daily battery energy quota, and narrow the size of the availability of the empty free slot box, left with a rest pause time margin size that is very, very, very extremely limited, truly miserably narrow for the self of a complete human being, to then, if forced just merely only to start bothering trying to pioneer the initiation process of the seed of development, the exploration of early romance approaches, or continuing to the heavy agenda of continuous maintenance of the birth of a serious romantic bilateral knot-tie commitment relationship bond form, which basically will definitely demand a large portion of extra sacrifice, concentration, attention in the wildlife territory, far outside the safe zone borders of the thick fences of the power of his life habitat realm reach territory that is filled with the whirlpool of his professional routine, which so far feels so suffocatingly wrapping around his neck inside this Godspeed-paced world industry. An exciting piece of info that is very, very cool to be discussed for all of you hidden fact lovers. Halcyon truly convincingly has a personal cleaning routine rule that is extraordinarily meticulous, upholding the value of neatness to a god level up to millimeter precision regarding the arrangement of his collection room, which mandates that all trinkets of displays, valuable clothing collections, to the arrangement of his footwear must not shift position even a dot, an absolute reflection of independence that does not need its truth to be doubted again for the rest of time.
Number 3. RM. In the third order of this comprehensive discussion ladder, let us together, with a calm heart, slowly step up to meet closely, face to face, with the form of a charismatic, intellectual leader figure whose depth of mind is most likely always spinning too full, noisy, and extraordinarily densely packed, containing stacks of discussion theories on world-painting artists' works, stacks of pages of journal reading, books reviewing, philosophical reviews with very heavy, complicated narratives, and moreover, the huge weight of millions of giant-sized international-scale responsibility pressures that he constantly shoulders solidly on his shoulders, purely just to dare to let his mind rest peacefully, having available relaxed breathing time to plan and think about the schedule of making a romantic, flower-filled dating encounter appointment agenda at the end of the weekend time. Kim Namjoon, this tall, dimpled man, firmly, without being able to be shifted, securely occupies the stable position ranking third in this long exposition of the list of arguments of our eternal singlehood observation analysis formula in this opportunities content, and his acquisition of that top board position dominantly and decisively basically is mostly shaped, strongly influenced due to the factor of his interest that is truly very extremely
extremely too deep, like a bottomless well, and absolutely will never be easily satisfied in the continuous cycle process of searching for knowledge regarding the advanced stages of self-identity crisis dissection exploration by an intellectual point of view approach, then followed by his form of love appreciation that constantly flows heavily without knowing the limit of receding stop, and even almost sideswiping touching the level of obsessive nature tendency category on the effort of deepening the appreciation of consuming and preserving towards the entire stretch of spectrum elements of beauty from the realm of the universe world of art movements of historical past heritage remains to contemporary alternative arts of the future and present civilizations across the boundaries, across the trajectory of the flow of civilization era times. And also, lastly, certainly due to his own high level of demand needs, which from within his inner self is truly, genuinely judged to feel intensely suffocating. Its nature is crucially urgent, cannot be postponed for tomorrow, and its law is considered an absolute unnegotiable obligation, which is the necessity of the availability or the creation of an isolated life privacy protection space establishment that is purely absolute only solely so that his exhausted mind current cable channels are capable and free to breathe peacefully, having the opportunity to return to reflect and meditate silently, freely, loosely, making peace, releasing, liberating himself from the pressure of inner fatigue exhaustion from the squeeze of the cruel international entertainment world stage that he undergoes. Various wide ranges of all the elements of unending deep intrapersonal characters that continue to wrestle this at the final conclusion point of its journey, slowly but with sure consistency, successfully accumulate on a large scale to at each of its real appearances, very extremely constantly without stopping, successfully bring up the image making a physique depiction of the existence of his own entity, will constantly, continuously be highlighted and assessed to be able to be seen convincingly from the corner of the outside watch out there, appearing as the embodiment of an independent man, profile who truly, with all his luxury, is very, very, very able to so freely enjoy every breath second of his relaxed solitude for a moment, with a sincere, pure heart so very highly truly appreciating and valuing the worth of every footprint of the precious silent silence of that moment, avoiding the disturbance of noise, and in fact often seems consciously exactly looks so joyfully cheerful, even tending to, with full joy, celebrate alone, calmly, the freedom from the binding, trap chains of his quiet, long status as the bearer of the fully independent, single-label life predicate in his life, without pressure, without prolonged despair. Carrying the predicate, shouldering the command baton mandate position role as a true frontline leader figurehead representative face of the pace of a very historically monumental and extraordinarily phenomenally iconic idol music group work carriage, with a reach and ownership stretch of global massive domination commercial success achievement level record breaking scale, which all its series of forms of sheets of track records of counts of carving collection of achievement records honestly have practically almost never before been imagined would ever happen becoming a possibility, or even dared to be secretly daydreamed, imagined, capable of being successfully achieved before his generation era by any fictional prediction imagination from the calculation of any expert figures, whoever they are, previously in the big book of the history ink of greatness of the rotation of the direction of its industrial development since the early creation of this K-pop music was born, the figure of Namjoon for the years of his journey, speeding forward, that honestly, so far by the practical law of nature, and indeed has been required to endure giving up his soul to be slammed by piles of pressure and shouldering the tension weight of mind health, mental health weight that is extraordinarily heavy portion of destruction almost unimaginable to reason, the crushing squeeze pressure of a massive artificial mountain ocean expectation pinned from the view of millions of various wide arrays of all corners of the universe Earth observation eyes, and outside of that, he still does not escape demanded to be obliged to shoulder the heavy mandate task of the demand to hold the crucial role of responsibility burden level scale, of compliance, of representation, of the honor of his country nation, whose prestige weight is considered very, very valuable, of highly significant, noble, unshakable, unceasing value during the ongoing period of tens of years of his transition, of his sharp curved line journey, climbing his career, breaking through the ranks of global stars beyond the sane mind limit of normal human age.
The heavy mandate of executing the operational central role demand of the most important position figure and this very crucially valuable task office turns out truly, in reality, in its practical manifestation of its action application in the daily battlefield, often unilaterally and forcefully without warning, cornering, then demanding and obliging him reflexively fast to directly dare to act alertly, standing and forcing him bravely, confidently, without awkwardness, with authority demanding full rights to take over the mastery of the wheel of the operational control baton direction, and demanded to be smart in speaking fluent words in his designated position capacity, to act absolutely in public as the reliable spokesperson, representative, mouthpiece, institution, public face of his single team formation, which this crucial, brave kind of thing most often happens, appears suddenly, must be overcome when the time of determination of the most tense, most proud, touching peak moments arrives, as well as sharply behind all that, also acts as a shield during the most critically critical moments, at the edge lip of the threat of the fall abyss, stalking them instantly, required to be able to quickly, smartly, sharply spin his brain astutely, to be skilled in arranging the series of word order weaves, by knitting the string of wisdom, word, inspiration, sentence carvings, by carving them purely from the emptiness of the blank sheet, rough mind blueprint framework of his brain, solely so that on the next second then, it must be presented, displayed, delivered with firm loudness in the presentation delivery of an oration format, a material manifestation of an inspiring, meaningful, deeply heavy heart-pulling speech, which has demanded its requirements absolutely mandatory, required to be judged, can appear very extraordinarily perfectly flawless, free from the stain of flaw, defect of the tongue, perfectly intact, perfectly seen both in terms of aspect, grammar, pronunciation, mentioning that is demanded perfectly accurate accent, as well as in the reach of the depth of meaning of its noble implied message, entrusted to be intentionally echoed, shouted out melodiously, resonating loudly, the reflection of his voice, with very sharp authority, piercing, touching the inner recesses of the audience, in the area of the high-stepping podium, veranda, holy, sacred place, altar of honor of the front row of the podium, under the direct supervision, spotlight of hundreds of elite row members, high-ranking top leader figures, representatives from the entire ranks of elite troops, seat delegate, important, expert delegates, official envoys in the main meeting room of the Council of the Joint Cooperation Organization, representative high assembly plenary institution of the United Nations of the Combined Nations worldwide, whose historical value, weight of its execution price is priceless, to echo, printing his ink name, ruling the movement of the peace history era of the golden generation. An unexpected cool fact information that becomes his great pride of all time, his dedication to narrating the audio guide tour information, specially for the connoisseurs of the national scale exhibition art gallery in his exhibition room, is an absolute conclusive proof of his love to adventure, sinking, deepening exploration in the silent waters of the eternal historical intellectual peace ocean. Number 2. Jin.
Who would have thought that the form of a charming, muscular man endowed with a physical posture highlighting masculine broad shoulders, along with the proud embellishment of the magic nickname as a handsome-faced man classified in the most unbeatable handsome category in the vast map of the world civilization landscape, whose gravitational charm has always been validated and very successfully, consistently, completely seized and thoroughly robbed, hoarding the entire ocean of spotlights, of clicking admiration, of public focus attention, of millions of pairs of international foreign audience spectator eyes in turn, in reality, precisely, very firmly, convincingly occupies the position, perched sitting sweetly on the seat ranking second in the sequence of the second top position in the completeness of the arrangement of the text exposition content of the evaluation formulation draft design of the comprehensive evaluation observation list discussion of our deep observation chat on this happy time encounter chat occasion, because mainly its main strong logical driver is because his very own real personal figure itself, very meticulously indeed, is proven from the very beginning, from the formation of the deepest root composition, forging of the inner part layer structure, mental construction of his subconscious room side itself, has truly been legitimately born, gifted, firmly planted, nurturing, managing, and then the most important of all of that is very, very, very much without fatigue, unceasingly, routinely, repetitively, always practicing and showing consistently to the public viewing stage performance spotlight arena of the outside world stage and exhibition spectacle about the greatness of the achievement showcase on the level of maturity, height, level of stabilization, independence, defense foundation of strength management, management of balancing effort of control guarding, control of stability of the fluctuation pace of the wave of rotation of his emotional inner currents defense system, which honestly must be admitted is truly very, very overly spectacular and undeniably successful, truly very amazingly making one click amazed, awe-inspiring, clicking his skill proficiency level, plus being armed with the availability of the ammunition supply provision of a capacity, capability of hidden talent, gift of extraordinary ability that is born tough, super steel, unyielding to successfully continue to be able to always, always, and always proactively, enthusiastically, optimistically succeed brilliantly in producing, raising, generating, then manifesting, as well as giving birth, duplicating, yielding, creating, replicating instantly a form of spark source, of searching achievement form, of a chunk of satisfaction, of peak achievement, victory, joy, happiness, priceless, perfect feeling of joy, inner achievement, whose essence nature is fully wrapped, purely unblemished, completely, exclusively he picks, assembles, concocts, and produces concocted to be aimed, directed, given purely as a supply material, offering, feed, nutrition supply for spiritual improvement for his inner self, and his complete pleasure is exclusively created, purely created specifically only for himself, the processed result of the pure utilization from the extraction, settling, utilization process of discovery, excavation of various fragments of a series of types of miscellaneous pieces of items, things, or forms of deeds, daily activities, action, experiences, which in the eye view of its essence from the outside actually precisely look very much considered common, very trivial, of very natural value, very cheap, easily obtained, aka so light, counted as petty change, trivial things, very small little things in people's eyes, not demanding complex execution effort, complication, and truly so light, concluded as such very petty, very simple, light, down to earth, very, very simple its complexity level in daily life. All of those fulfillment miracles are able to be independently worked on, achieved completely, and achieved 100% independently, absolutely free, completely clean, totally freeing oneself completely out of control, pure, without the slightest having to ever taste the experience of weakness, begging, forced, squeezed,
falling, having to end up begging, submitting a proposal, pleading for help, extending a giving donation, contribution, pouring support, or mercifully begging for a trickle of help, a tiny bit, let alone not up to the level of standard of hanging the weight of his happiness, fate, or forced to sit kneeling, sitting anxiously patient, resigned all night, unable to sleep, restlessly waiting, hoping, anticipating the arrival of a ray, flashpoint of validation, granting a feeling recognition, nor the presence of offering, intake, supply, package delivery, giving, serving, entertainment, reply of romantic bond, love, promise, romance, which is merely scheduled, planned, only solely intended to be able to be channeled, sent, delivered, sourced, originating, coming, arriving from the unilateral surrender offer, extension of help, touch of love, interference, contribution of the assisting party, agent, group, representative party, intervention of the rescuer ranks, the presence of a companion or prospective occupant of the figure, entity, seat existence from the outer circle figure, of the external other people prospective idol from the direction of the continent, direction of the territory, from wherever any corner, whichever direction point of view of the universe corner it is offered, promised to be located later or originally sourced. A fun fact that proves his love for independent, peaceful life is his habit, which is guaranteed he will never forget, namely protectively dragging a box of protective backpack containing a piece of mechanical-sounding, glowing typing keyboard device paired perfectly with his personal favorite game-playing control device gadget, mouse, so that it can accompany all the time in the hotel during the event of overseas performances without having to get a headache wandering around looking for outdoor entertainment at all, until the end completion of his obligatory wandering journey time.
Number 1. Suga. And finally, in a climax from this discussion sequence, culminates on the absolute throne of the genius shining producer-controller Min Yoongi, who endlessly, extremely locks, secures himself, sinking, confining his exhausted body completely swallowed behind the depth of the building framework of his reliable personal hitmaker machine wall facility, layered with machines named Genius Lab, to dedicate fighting, risking all the limits of the remaining strength of his soul, and draining, squeezing the drops of his rational health sense, spilling the focus time of his late-night hours to successfully produce, mix, create in the middle of an experimental ocean of audio, sound, code processing fragments, of sonata song art masterpieces for the sake of the crazy demands of highly inevitable production work, professional deadlines, with astounding factual proof showing off single bravery, ruling, tearing the sky, conquering independently, conquering, dancing, stepping on the stage arena, single, hard, cruel stadium arena on a cross-country scale, purely single, isolated, solitary, alone, without being accompanied, without a slight reserve crowd of crew teammates, for the sake of the broadcast, promotion, release, launch, explosive success of working on the secret trilogy material of his dark past life suffering behind the epic title D-Day, and the broadcast of deep secret professional talk of sharp intellect at the Suchwita table, managed on rational principles full of mature thought calculations, of logical financial calculation, successfully gathering comprehensive evidence confirming, printing the validity of his name convincingly impenetrable absolute success, holding, topping the legend status representative figure idol, printing the standard of independence, fulfillment of life stability, independent, whole, single, independent, without being burdened or feeling disadvantaged, lacking love at all, forever. Unrivaled, exciting information that is at the same time a source of role model material of high inner awakening for the connoisseurs of his story is the finding of his routine diligence, dedication, every time waiting in line for his his journey is used constantly, meticulously, greedily to routinely absorb, skin, dissect, finish a long, thick row of reading reference works, knowledge stacks of heavy, complex review guide journal page references, peeling, dismantling the scientific analysis of deep human behavioral theory science regarding social psychology, inner complexity, applied philosophical view theory, so that the understanding of his psychic defense shield, mental control, reasoning stability wall, life independence protection is never easily fragile, easily destroyed, shaken, infiltrated, forced violently destroyed by fake offers of the temptation, touch of sudden romance intervention, weakness.